Diana is going to start.
Gotcha.
She's going to call her meeting to order, and then it's going to start with Peter because of the time.
Oh, okay. I thought you should do
Yours isn't advertised until, I think, 7:10, so till 7:10 you
Okay.
can't go.
Okay, we're ready to start.
Oh,
Then call to
Can't
order.
listen to everybody. Everybody's got an opinion. They measure up. I never listen to them.
You just had it.
No, he looked up to you for me before I couldn't go. I'm going to sit here and not go.
There you go.
We'll all have our chance.
Hello, I call the Personnel and Human Services Committee to order at 7:03. I do not have any business tonight, but on Tuesday, I'm hoping you'll join us. We have about 15 guests that are going to be talking from the Disability Commission and the Substance Abuse Prevention Council. So we will have an opportunity to thank them for their service and getting these committees up and running again. So that will be it for tonight. And I will call the meeting and hope to see you guys here next Tuesday at 6.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. 7:03. Again, a minute. Thank
Call
you.
Public Safety Emergency Management to order at 7:04. Have one motion this evening. In the docket of March 20th, 2018, I entertain a motion to approve the request of the mayor to transfer $9,625 from account 1124100-578300, Citywide Reserve Fund for transfer, to account 1210100-524011, Police Maintenance of Buildings, regarding the need for funds to replace the elevator door operator.
Second.
I haven't got a chance to talk to the chief, but it seems like it's pretty self-explanatory. The doors to the elevator doesn't work. You can't bring people in and out, and I think that's important for our bookings and whatnot, getting people up and down from the south. But I will check with them before next week. Any other questions, comments, anything you want me to ask them about the elevator? All those in favor?
How long has it been out? How long has it been broken?
I'll check.
Okay.
Yep. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Move to adjourn at 7:05.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you very much.
I'd like to call Public Works Committee to order at 7:06. I have two items this evening. The first is I entertain a motion to approve the request of the mayor to transfer $15,000 from account 6100-578300, Water Enterprise Fund Reserve Fund for transfer to account 6100-530335, Water Enterprise Fund Activated Carbon Replacement. Second. Thank you very kindly. So this is, there are filters that are replaced every year at the water treatment plant. And they, so they take a filter and they kind of recycle it. So they take one filter and they send it back to the company Carbon Calgon and until it gets regenerated. And each year they get that filter back and they put it with another and they just keep recycling the 3 filters. However, this time when they went to replace it, this particular filter could not be regenerated correctly, so they have to purchase a brand new one. But they've been recycling their filters since like 2012, and it saved us over $30,000 per fiscal year by not buying virgin carbon filters, which is kind of cool. I mean, to me, it sounded cool, even though I really don't understand the whole thing, but I try to, but we'll find out more when we go on March 31st and see exactly how it's done. But this is something that we need to replace, but it was unexpected, totally unexpected. Any questions, comments? All those in favor? Aye. Thank you. Motion, opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much. Secondly, I entertain a motion to approve the request of the mayor to appropriate $403 from account 6100-359000, Water Enterprise Fund Retained Earnings, to account 6100-589065, Water Enterprise Fund Water Main Construction, for funding to pay the performance bond associated with the South Main Street water repairs.
Second?
Thank you so kindly. Discharge was unforeseen when they were doing the South Main Street repairs, and at the January 16th meeting, this amount did not come down because this is a performance bond that is associated with that. Comments, questions, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Opposed? Motion passes. I thank you very much. And I have no further business this evening for Public Works. I'd like to call for an adjournment at 7:09.
Second.
You can't second.
Second.
I have to remind you all the time.
You're just so slow.
Tonight I am. I would have to agree with that, yes.
You want to leave it hanging.
Thank you. We are adjourned at 7:09.
I'd like to call the Capital Improvements and City Development Committee to order at 7:09.
Second.
Sitting on my committee is Councilor Dolan as Vice Chair and Councilor Hall. I just want to report tonight that we did have our first flight of inspections for the Fire Department and the Recreation Department last Saturday, and we weren't able to meet with the Fire Department as scheduled, but we're going to reschedule the Fire Department for April 14th. So 9 o'clock, April 14th, we'll be meeting at the South Attleboro Fire Station. And when we're done there, which will probably take a half an hour, we will then go to the Union Street Station. And I will know between now and April 14th whether or not we'll be making a further trip to either the Twin or Briggs or any of the other areas. So that might be a round-robin event. But we did meet, the committee met with the Recreation Department, and the Recreation Department gave me their capital project requests for the fiscal year. So I'm going to make copies of these and get them to you, because it's going to be not until April 1st that we're going to receive our capital improvement book, and I fear that might even slip out a little bit later. So what I'm doing is, as I meet with each department head, I'm asking them for the information that they submitted to Gary, and I'm collecting that. And so even though we don't have the new plan, we have the information right from the department heads directly, okay? So what I'm afraid of is that the capital improvement plans will slip just a little bit too far as the budget process is pushing up, and I really want those two things to happen concurrently. So I have the Recreation Department and I have the School Department. So I'm going to give you both of these. It's fascinating reading. And we'll be meeting next Saturday as planned. I have the schedule here somewhere, but whatever we had planned is what we're going to be doing next Saturday. Any questions about? Yes.
Everything's kind of getting pushed back, so I just want to make sure I have this right. So April 7th was really the March 3rd. That's Capron Park, and then the Stamford Street building. Is that right? Mm-hmm. Were we pushing back March 3rd to April 7th, and now April 14th will be the fire department?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And I apologize, but that fluidity is okay at this point, yes, because I'm convinced we're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
I am. And if you have any thoughts during the process, I'm all ears. So if you think there's something more that I could be doing that would help the city, I'm happy to do it. Any other comments, questions? I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Thank you. Declare the capital, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Capital Improvement Committee is adjourned at 7:11. I would like to call the Special Committee on the Council of Rules and Procedures order at 7:11. Sitting on this committee are Councilor Corica as the Vice Chair and Councilor Kobus. During the past week, councilors, I circulated to you a document that was a Word document. It's marked draft very heavily. That is the best that I could do in Word, and what this does for the public to understand is that it basically takes the rules and procedures and shows that it made some editings, and they're in red. And I did it this way because I really didn't know any better way to do it, and I am open to any suggestions, because it's a large document, on any other way to get that done. But there's a couple of new developments that I want to get into the record tonight. Oops, I'm sorry. That was the last committee. We'll get them in the next, yep.
So, one thing on the draft, would you send that to Virginia for circulation?
She has it.
And so that councils can react through her to you?
I thought that it was just a little premature to do that.
Okay.
So I circulated it, I asked Virginia to circulate to the council committee members, thinking that if we could get a system together, the three of us, to be able to, and we're going to talk about this now, on how we would like to proceed, the three of us, to develop this document to present to the council. And when do we think it's appropriate to bother the councilors with what we've done, because things will continue to change. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, good.
Would you just send me a copy so I can start?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
In fact, here you go.
Oh, thank you.
If I could ask, I forgot an important piece of business in capital improvements, so if I could ask for a recess in the special committee on rules and procedures. All in favor?
Second.
Thank you. So we're going into recess at 7:14.
Aye.
Thank you, the vote. I'm going to reconvene the Capital Improvements and City Development Committee meeting at 7:14 because there's a important piece of capital information that I want to read into the record
Just a
tonight.
point of order. I'm
Yes.
so sorry. Just as the parliamentarian, can we do that? No. Because I'm thinking
so.
that we can.
No, because you didn't recess capital improvements, it's
You
closed.
adjourned it.
I adjourned it. Okay, then we're not going to be able to do this.
Good to me.
Yeah, I'll give it to you. You can read it into the record.
There we go.
All right, so we're
So we'd like
back.
to reconvene.
We're back into the committee, special committee on rules and procedures, all right? And what I want to discuss with the three of you tonight is the important issue of how do we manage this document with three councils trying to get input into it all at the same time to make a recommendation to the city council. I gave it the best stab that I could based on what I know, and I just gave it a brush of what I thought were the things that we should take into consideration, and I made suggestions on what we should take out and maybe what we should add, but I forgot one very important thing, and that is at the order of business and docket, Article 5, I want to take out the section that we have on parliamentary procedures. I'll tell you exactly where it is. It's actually section 631, it's line 660 in your document, where we have the motions defined and all the different kinds of motions that the councils can make. I would like to eliminate that whole section and insert essentially this quick reference guide from this booklet, which is called The Parliamentary Procedures at a Glance, New Edition. It has 22 procedures that can be done in the council, and it's highlighted in what is it that you want to do, and then explains how it is that you should do it.
Excuse me,
So,
Mr. Chairman.
for example,
Excuse me, Mr.
Yes.
Chairman? May I interrupt you just for a
Certainly,
moment,
go right
please?
ahead. You have
Thank you
the
very
floor.
much. So this is kind of awkward, because we're all sitting here and you're looking at a document that, it's all part of your committee. Could you have your own committee meeting at some point to discuss all this? Because it's awkward for us sitting here just staring at you at what you're reading, because we have no idea what you're reading. And I say this professionally to you, because it is awkward, because you'd be saying the same thing sitting next to me, and it would be under your breath.
Yes, I think the lion's share of the work needs to be done by the committee to make a recommendation to the council. And yes, I will take that into consideration with my committee members, yes.
Well, that was going to actually, when we got into the meat of the discussion, that was going to be my recommendation, that similar to zoning and land use, and when we were writing different ordinances, we would schedule a separate time to meet, and I think that might be, because then the three of us can sit back there, hash it out, and then make a presentation to the municipal council, because I can imagine that.
Okay, so since the work that we need to do at this time in the committee is largely organizational, let's do that. Why don't we schedule a committee meeting for a future date and time? When are you available?
I would pretty much make myself available to you at any, provided I don't have a conflict with like
So
traffic study or
Wednesday night's good for you?
Wednesday evenings. 7
Thursday
o'clock.
evenings are fine for
Do you
me.
want to do late, like 7 o'clock starts, or do you prefer earlier?
Yes, please, with the train.
Right.
Okay, so, I don't have a calendar here.
Look, I'm using technology on the council floor.
Oh dear.
Kick me out. When would you like to?
I'd like to get started as soon as schedules allow. If
The
we could-
21st would be the next Wednesday,
would
the
be-
28th.
That would be great.
And President Cooper is also trying to get your attention.
President Cooper, comments?
Yeah, so what Councilor Jackson said was the reason why I said we should send it to everybody before we have this in-depth discussion, because people are trying to follow along but don't have the convenience of the four of us have. What I do want to say about the motions section is that the committee needs to be very particular and make sure that things that are in this section are covered in the 23 that are in that, because not all of them are. Rule of necessity, for example, financial disclosure,
Right.
charter objection, I don't think is in there, specifically a charter objection referencing section 2.9 of our charter. So I would be very careful what, I think change needs to be made to that section, but again, I would caution the committee on just making a blanket statement to use only those 23, because there are very specific, city-specific things in the rules around our particular motions dictated by the charter.
So noted, and thank you. So, given that the committee will meet on March 21st at 7 p.m. in the council annex meeting, we have time to advertise that, and we'll have a public meeting at that time. The purpose of the meeting will be to discuss the rules and procedure, organizational aspects of how the three of us are going to put together this document, and if we have time, we'll get to work on section 1. The plan is to present to the council for approval the new rules of procedure section by section for vote. So, for example, the authority, section 1, article 1 will be put to the council. If there's any changes for approval, then we'll move on to section 2. Is there any further comments on special rules and committee? Yes?
In order to make this go a little bit faster, are we allowed to use technology and put this into a shared document online so that we can make changes, make comments back and forth without violating open meeting laws, provided we put a public link to it so that the public has full access to view that and see all the, no?
My current understanding of the open meeting law is no.
Okay, that's,
And you can
even
ask-
if it's fully available to the public?
Yeah, you would agree, and so we could ask the president to ask the legal counsel if we can collaborate online without violating.
It's deliberation, and I would say no.
Okay, there you go. Yes, Counsel.
Through the chair, through Council Cooper. Would it be the same, though, if it went through Virginia first, and she sent it to people, and then they sent it back to her?
Yeah, it's just a lot of,
It's a lot of
back
back
and
and forth,
forth.
but I think that would skirt the open meeting law, wouldn't it?
well, it
It
would,
would make it not illegal, I think.
right, because it would technically be going through her, but as soon as there was any, I'm sorry if I may, Mr. Chairman, if there was any,
On the floor.
what was perceived as deliberation or was actually deliberation between 2 members of the committee or 6 members of the council, it gets very squishy. So I wouldn't
Stay away
risk
from
that. I would just have a committee meeting.
Even if those conversations are part of that public record in.
I think so. I can spend $150 an hour to ask the city solicitor. I don't think I think we've been cautioned many times about the use of email and deliberating amongst counselors, but I'm happy to do it if the majority of folks think that we need another opinion from the solicitor on whether that's deliberation or not, but I'm happy to do it.
So we're gonna start out the old-fashioned way. Get into the room, beat it up, just like you did the marijuana ordinance, see how we can get that done, and go from there. So pretty good.
What is I guess, do you have a time frame in which you would like to have this completed?
Yes.
So will it be weekly meetings? Will it be every other week? Will it be,
I think.
just for my planning purposes,
Yeah.
that would be helpful.
I don't think they'll be weekly,
Okay.
but I think it'll be at least 2 meetings a month, because we've got a lot of work to do during April, May, and June to meet my deadline, July 1, to meet his deadline of August 1st. So my intent was to have the document finished to our liking, and in circulation to the councils by July 1, and then discussion among the council so that we could make the motions and pass it in July to meet the August deadline.
So I think that scheduling our meeting next Wednesday is perfect, because that is just after a full council meeting, and we'll have a committee meeting, a subsequent committee meeting the following Tuesday, so we then can give, updates. This is what we were similar again to how Councilor Kobus, he would go through his agenda. We can have that if our fellow councilors have questions, concerns, or problems or suggestions. I'm sure that Councilor Conti would be happy to have that information, and you can send that to him through Virginia, and he can present it to the committee at the next time that we meet. That's, this as best as we can to not monopolize an enormous amount of time while we are here. I think that's probably the best way to manage it, and I think.
We've actually accomplished my number one objective for tonight in coming to a conclusion that online deliberations are not allowed. So I'm happy.
So check.
So I'm happy. Check one off.
There we go.
And if there's anything else, I'd ask a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's in order. All in favor?
Aye.
The Special Committee on Council's Rules and Procedures adjourned at 7:25. Thank you.
Send me a reminder for next Wednesday.
Call the Committee for Capital Improvements, sorry, Committee for Zoning and Land Use to order at 7:25. Members of my committee are Councilor Hall and Councilor Delicio. I don't have any motions to bring forward tonight, but I wanted to remind everybody that the public hearing for the medical marijuana changes is scheduled for next Tuesday. And again, these are the RMD changes. These are not the recreational marijuana ordinances or the draft, the draft ordinance for recreational marijuana. And the second item that I wanted to mention is that the Cannabis Control Commission finalized their Regulation 935 CMR 500 last week. I haven't reviewed their finalized version, but over this weekend I intend to review that and compare it against our draft ordinance, and then we should be able to start moving forward again with the draft recreational ordinance. What's that? Yes, the public hearing next week. So I don't have anything else. Councilor Hall, Councilor Delicio?
It's relative to both committees, so I will discuss the business that the information Councilor Conti was going to give to the council through capital improvements and city development, being that some of the business for the cleanup of the Finberg field was in Richard's committee, and it is a zoning and land use matter as well. And Councilor Blair asked a very pertinent question a couple of weeks ago about the Army Corps of Engineers, and then didn't I get in the mail on March 7th from the Army Corps of Engineers a booklet on formerly utilized sites remedial action program update, and lo and behold, Schback landfill is in here. So I want to, and I will also discuss with the mayor, asking his administration, or the council can also ask the Army Corps if there's opportunity for us to seek money for the cleanup of Finberg Field, and we should exercise all options. And so relative to Schback, it says, it is in there in the booklet here, and it says in fiscal year 2012, the New England District completed the FSRAP cleanup of the Schback landfill Superfund site, an 8-acre abandoned domestic and industrial landfill approximately 40 miles southwest of Boston. The New England District completed a closeout report for the site in fiscal year 2016. The site was delisted from the EPA National Priority List in September 2017. In fiscal year 2017 and continuing through fiscal year 2018, the New England District continued the process of transferring site administrative controls and file records management responsibilities to the DOE Office of Legacy Management for long-term stewardship by fiscal year 2019. And so you're all aware, formerly utilized sites remedial action program update is what FUSRAPU stands for, and it's a program through the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. But it was interesting that sort of all of those things were happening at the same time, and then I got this letter. So I will formally put this into the record in the next full council meeting. We'll leave it in the office for all of you to take a look at it if you're interested, and I will discuss it at my next meeting with the mayor to discuss how we could potentially at least make the ask for some federal assistance or through this U.S. Army Corps to get some work done over at Finberg. So that's the update. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to let everyone know.
Thank you, President Cooper. Those veterans and their acronyms. So I move to adjourn the Zoning and Use Committee.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The Zoning and Land Use Committee is adjourned at 7:29.
I call Traffic and Transportation to order at 7:29. I don't have any business to bring forward this evening. I did meet with the Traffic Study Commission. We had some discussions about Riverbank Road, and just with the snowstorm and things like that, I wasn't able to take their recommendation and turn it into motions. But if I may, for a moment, I think we all remember, because Lance came and gave us a presentation before he left, so many of us have this similar map. When we look at, when the Traffic Study Commission, and I referenced our ordinance book, the easterly side of Riverbank Road, there's a lot of construction that needs to take place over there. There's some Chapter 90 funds that are going to be used over there, and the plan isn't really going to come to fruition as soon or as quickly as we had hoped. But in the meantime, we can address the opposite side of Riverbank Road and have the signage that's there actually reflect what's in the ordinance book. It's satisfactory. There is that little curve. I'm not sure if, I know many of us have been there. There's the curve along the way there that has the telephone pole, and it says no parking, but it's not specific as to where there's no parking or how far you can't park. So at my next committee meeting, I have the expectation that I'll have a motion put in place. Well, I don't actually even need to actually make a motion, because I'm going to make the request of the DPW to appropriately sign that area as it is reflected in the ordinance book. So that doesn't actually have to come in front of us. But I will keep this in my committee so that if there are things we can do on the easterly side, when those corrections are made, then we can just move straight away with that information. The other piece of business is Stobbs over by Bishop Vian. There was a recommendation that was made by the Traffic Study Commission. Once the police chief saw it, he had a couple of questions. So I actually have, I had a phone conversation with him yesterday, and I have the expectation to sit down with him and have a conversation as well. There's some construction that's taking place over there that will free up some spots. So then having a restriction on one side, like on the Bishop Vian side, might not be necessary. We might extend, it's at every entrance and egress, it's 20 feet from that you're not allowed to park, we might extend it to 30 feet instead on each side so that there are better sight distances. Again, it's something I need to sit and get the opinion of the police chief from, and a clearer idea from the police chief. So those things will be rolling out of committee sooner rather than later, I suppose. So, yes, Ms. Reynolds.
I didn't want to interrupt you. I wanted to ask a question. I just wanted to grab you before you canceled out here. And it's actually possibly maybe Councilor Cooper could help, or President Cooper could help as well. I'm wondering if anyone remembers, and maybe you might, that we received information about a meeting for March 19th with the state at the library concerning Route 1. And I wanted to, one, be sure they are still having it. I've been telling people, I don't know if the abutters got anything, which I am concerned about. I've gotten a few people that call, but I'm concerned that they got it and maybe didn't remember getting it because it happened so long ago, or there's some confusion over it. But that's March 19th. Everyone that has called me or people that I know about it, I have tried to call and let them know about it. So it is still on. Am I correct in that assumption?
That is correct. As far as I'm aware,
that's what
there is a, truth be told, Councilor Hall did send out a reminder with regards to that with the flyer on it. On social media, there is an event that was created by Mass DOT or whoever did it, saying that there's a meeting, and you can go on Facebook and search that and say that you're interested, and it'll send you a reminder of when to go. But it is Monday.
I think it's 7.
I'll find out.
It is 7 o'clock at the library.
I'm breaking all the rules tonight. Councilor Cooper.
So it is at the library. It is on the 19th, and I'm looking in the audience at George, hoping that if they haven't, that they will take the notice and put something in the paper to alert. It's a pretty big project.
It's a big project.
Virginia has it as well. It is at 6 p.m. to 8:15 on Monday, March 19th. And you can go onto Facebook and share that. If you have a counselor page, that might be smart to be able to do something like that. Well, maybe, but I did confirm that.
Yeah.
Ms. Hall?
Yes, and the reason why it hasn't gone out, it did get sent out, but it's because it's Mass DOT that's doing it, and oftentimes that happens when they have a big, I guess I call it a public hearing, town hearing, whatever, that these organizations will kind of, it's very difficult unless you sort of catch that somewhere. So it is Mass DOT that is in charge of this, not the city itself.
Right.
But it's great to get that information out. So people need to, because it is, Route 1, 123, and so forth, and everybody really wants to know what's going on down there. So thanks for bringing it up.
Well, I do think that the letter I received, they actually said that Lance had said a letter was going to go out from the city to the abutters. It was in my letter, which I don't have here with me, of course. But I don't think it went out, is what I'm saying. So maybe it isn't our responsibility to do it, but again, I'm going to throw it at George. It would be great if the Sun Chronicle does it. I do not have a councilor webpage, but people that do might. If you don't mind throwing it up there, that'd be great.
Thank you.
So I had the good fortune of meeting with people from DOT talking about that May Street intersection and Angeline, and this was part of the discussion. So to set appropriate expectations, please come to the meeting next Monday, bring your notebook, take your notes. This is there's a long game here. There's no construction expected until 2021 or things like that, but this is a good informational session for people to be at. Thank you for reminding me. Thank you for bringing that up. I appreciate
I'm glad we all somewhat knew about it, and that maybe everybody that's listening will refresh their memories. It is a big deal down that area.
Anything else for traffic and transportation? Ms. Hall?
If someone didn't get that and wants it, I have it already scanned in, the entire document, so if somebody just wants it, just email me and I can email it to you. It was a thick package. Yeah.
That's it? All right, I call for adjournment at 7:37. All those in favor?
Aye.
And we are adjourned at 7:37.
I would like to call Budget and Appropriations to order at 7:37. I have two motions to bring before us tonight. From the docket of March 20th, 2018, I entertain a motion to approve the request of the mayor to transfer $5,367.80 from account 1543100-577010 Veterans Aid to account 1543100-558315 Veterans Replacement of Flags to purchase U.S. flags, brackets, poles, and other hardware that were damaged during the windstorm on October 29th and 30th, 2017.
Second.
Thank you, Todd. So Ken Boddish's words are a lot more articulate than mine, so if you could indulge me, I'm just going to read his note. I respectfully request your permission to transfer $5367.80 for replacement of flags to support the purchase of additional U.S. flags, brackets, poles, and other hardware related to their display. As you recall, on October 29th and 30th of 17, a storm with hurricane force winds gusting at up to 60 miles an hour downed power lines and toppled trees. This storm wreaked havoc upon 162 U.S. flags, which we fly upon the decorative light poles throughout the historic downtown Attleboro. Whereas these flags will typically last 3 to 4 years, we found after inspection that every single flag was flying at the time of the storm was some way damaged. Some flags were never recovered and the storm knocked them off or broke the brackets they were secured to, and most were rendered completely unserviceable. These flags were flying in late October because we had hoped to display, the display would make it all the way through to Veterans Day. In the future, we would hope to avoid exposing these flags to potential for major weather events in late fall by flying these flags from Memorial Day through Labor Day. Just want to talk a little bit about a little 7-second commercial here from the Veterans Agent. U.S. flags which are no longer fit to serve as a symbol of our nation can be dropped off at Department of Veteran Services here at City Hall, as well as each of our fire department stations and both American Legion posts in Attleboro. Flags from these collection points are brought to the Attleboro Elks once per year in October for a dignified flag retirement ceremony. So a lot of words in there, I get it, but I thought it was important to kind of pull it all together because I think there is some question about, well, you know, it's a lot of money for flags and everything else. Well, personally, the flag means something, I think, to all of us here, which is why we're sitting here. It's a small price to pay to show our respect to those who served proudly. And for all of you who have, thank you. Really, Todd. So that's it on that. Any other questions, concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. Motion passes. Finally, from the docket of March 20th, 2018, I entertain a motion to approve the request of the mayor to appropriate $1,214,257 and any other future grant amendments into Fund 3108, Chapter 90 projects for the purpose of funding Chapter 90 eligible projects as approved by the Massachusetts Department of Transportation, MassDOT.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Conti. All right, and first of all, in an effort of full disclosure, I am employed by MassDOT. However, there is no personal conflict of interest or financial interest in this. Also, given the storms and the cleanup, I haven't had the opportunity to speak with DPW Superintendent Mike Tyler about some of the things that he would like to see this money go to. We all know that it's important for infrastructure. So if you would so indulge me, I'd like to read the letter the mayor received from Governor Baker. The Honorable Mayor, we are pleased to inform you that Chapter 90 local transportation aid funding for fiscal year 2019 will total $200 million statewide pending final legislative approval. This letter certifies that pending final passage of the bond authorization, your community's Chapter 90 appointment for the fiscal year 2019 is $1,214,257. This apportionment will automatically be incorporated into your 10-year Chapter 90 contract, which is available on the MassDOT website. The Chapter 90 program is an integral part of maintaining and enhancing your community's infrastructure and is an essential component of our state and local partnership. We look forward to working with you in the coming year and the success of this program. So, as you can see, it's a good chunk of change. It's going to help with some of the infrastructure. Councilor Conti and then President Cooper.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is one of those wonderful capital improvement budget crossovers. In my possession, I have, and I'll try to find it, a report done by an exterior consultant under Lance Hill that studied the roads in the city of Attleboro and assigned a dollar figure to what it would cost to keep the roads just as bad as they are on an annual basis. And that figure was 2.4 million, if I recall correctly. So this is
That
about,
sounds right.
this is about 50%. And this number has grown. When I first joined the council, it was about, I remember a $900,000 figure. But it hasn't grown as fast as the need to repair the roads that are failing us.
Right.
I'm going to find that consultant report and give a copy to all councilors because it plays a role in the capital improvement plan. But as grateful as I am that we have Chapter 9 dollars, it's not enough to fix all of the problems that we have.
Right.
And that concludes my comments.
No, thank you. I think it's a cogent point, and, there's a lot that Chapter 90 money can be used for, including purchasing of equipment, which we want to make sure, if that's the case, that it's needed. The other thing is, it goes into sidewalks, not just road repair. And in New England, we saw at the end of February, mid-60s, low 70s. Now we're back in the 30s and snowstorms every week. So I'm willing to bet that number,
Which town?
I know. I'm just talking what we've already happened. So I'm willing to bet that number has probably increased since then. But I remember the report you spoke of, so if you could find it, that was a great piece, so thank you. President Cooper.
Thank you. So just to be clear, this is our fiscal 19 funds for Chapter 90, but what would be helpful to me in the budget update that you schedule would be what did we do with our Chapter 90 18 monies? What projects were funded with that, with those funds? I know we get them throughout the year that certain things will be funded with it, but it would be nice to sort of understand where we spent our Chapter 90 money last year.
Yeah, no, it's a very good point. I'll look into that as well.
It doesn't have to be for next week's meeting, just part of the budget
Absolutely.
update.
Of course. Any other questions or concerns? Before we get to the vote, I do just want to take a second to thank the DPW, Water Department, plow drivers, fire, police, EMTs for their hard work during all the storms that we've had. And we are lucky to have them. I've gotten a lot of compliments, and I know I've gotten some concerns as well. But just want to thank everyone for their service and time away from their family.
Actually, I do have a comment.
Sure.
Is this money used for situations like what happened on Wilmarth Street? I just want to avoid.
I don't believe that is. So what I can do, and one thing, and that's a really good point, Council Holmes, is I'd like to get some clarification on exactly what because it's such a specific use what Chapter 90 can be used. So when Mike Tyler comes down for his budget review, I'll have him talk a little bit about that, because I think that's a good question. And Council Jackson.
Thank you. Just so you know,
Sure.
I think a lot of the 2018 was spent in Ward 4. We got a lot of new sidewalks down off of Maple Street. They redid Briggs Corner.
Yeah.
That was a good portion of it, I do believe. Maple Street had the sidewalks. We had stuff over on Park Street out here. We did yes, there's a lot of stuff that was done around Pleasant Street. Pleasant Street was worked on too, so I believe that's a lot of 2018. But to answer your question with regards to the culvert on Wilmot Street, no, this is going to be a totally separate. Yeah, because this is a big emergency. Yeah, so it'll be paid with different funds.
And that's a great point, Council Jackson. A lot of these projects have been online, waiting for Chapter 90 for years. So whether it's certain sidewalks or street repairs. So, it's pretty complex, but to get this shot in the arm, and I agree, Council Conti, it's not enough. Even if it was a 2.4, I think we'd all be saying we'd still like some more, as we should. So thank you for the discussion on this. I appreciate it. All those in favor? Aye. Motion passes. I would call for an adjournment at 7:46.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned at 7:46.
I'd like to call the License Committee to order at 7:46. I have one item from the docket of March 20th, 2018. I entertain a motion to approve the request from the Veterans of Foreign Wars, Post 115, for permission to hold a poppy drive on Saturday, May 19th, 2018, with a rain date of Saturday, May 26, 2018.
Second.
So everybody knows what the Poppy Drive is, right? So, anybody have any questions or anything? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes, and I move to adjourn the License Committee at 7:47.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. I'd like to call the City Property and Claims Committee to order at 7:47. And the members of my committee are, of course, myself, Councilor Blair, and Councilor Holmes. So I have three motions this evening. From the docket of March 20th, 2018, I entertain a motion to approve the request of the mayor to declare the following police department items surplus and available for disposition. 6 office chair black faux upholstery, and I think it's supposed to be faux leather upholstery. The condition is fair. 31.25 inches in height by 23.5 inches in width by 26.75 inches in depth. The model number is WD1643U6.
Second.
Okay, any questions or concerns? Thank you for the second. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that motion passes. I entertain a motion to approve the request of the mayor to declare the following police department vehicles as surplus for trade-in or resale value and available for disposition. 2005 GMC Envoy, VIN number 1GKET6SO562059005. It's got 100,239 miles in it, and it's in poor condition. And then there's a 2008 Honda Accord, VIN number 1HGCP368388A021214, has 130,345 miles, and it also is in poor condition.
Second.
Thank you for the second. Again, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. I mean, the mileage may not seem high to most, but it's the way that vehicles are driven in the police department. You know, like with great emergency and they're on the road a lot and that kind of thing. So it's like a teenager being in your vehicle driving in craziness sometimes. That's what happens. So with that said, all those in favor?
Peter has a question.
Any other questions, concerns, and then all those in favor,
Just to
please?
verify something with people at home, some of those cars, I'm not sure if all of them, those are drug cars that
That's
we've
right.
got. So they, after you use them for a while,
Everybody knows who they are.
everybody knows who they are. They're not a normal police cruiser or a unit that was bought for the purpose of policing. It's something we got on drug cases was given to us, so that's basically what those are.
Right, they have to turn them over and change them out.
And they're not the best condition usually.
No, to
We
start
did have a
with.
fancy one a few years back. Do you remember that? Was it a caddy or something?
Probably.
No, I don't remember, but we're going on
It sounded
topic.
like a real drug car. That one was.
Thank you for the update, Councilor Blair.
Just an admin note, I don't know if you noticed the GMC Envoy VIN number is missing a digit. So I don't know if that's
No, I wouldn't have
important.
even known. Is it? It's supposed to have another digit? Okay, I will check that out, and I will add it before the next meeting. Thank you, Ty. I would have not noticed it if 4 was missing. I would have thought that was okay. Okay, all those, any other questions, concerns? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that motion passes. And my third and final is I entertain a motion to approve the request of the mayor to declare the following Recreation Department vehicle as surplus for trade-in or resale value and available for disposition. It is a 1997 Ford F-350. The VIN number is 1FDK-F38F. 5VEC 81008. It has 69,903 plus miles on it, and it is in poor condition. Okay, again, any concerns or questions? I would say the same thing, you know, it's been used as recreational, and so, you know, it gets a lot of wear and tear as well, even though, you know, you might not think 70,000 miles is a lot. It is when it's used in the capacity that it's used here. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that motion passes. And that's all the business, city property, and claims has this evening, so I'd like to call for an adjournment.
Second.
Thank you, and I will adjourn at 7:52.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
There you go.
Jules.
You're all set then.
Okay, you're all set?
No, I
Very
have
good.
to agree with
Very
you,
good, very
honestly.
good. Okay, all right, so we call the committee for ordinance, elections, and legislative matters to order at, what do we got? 7:50. Yeah, yeah.
Laura Dolan's pocket, she got it.
I'm going to say 7:55. Yeah, okay. So on my committee is myself, Councilor Holmes, Councilor Jackson. I don't have any motions to bring up tonight, but I think we're going to try to do a committee meeting next week. Excuse me, next opportunity that we have, because we're going to have from the elections officer, Ms. Dispatcher, come in and speak to this particular motion, which is why I don't want to bring it up this evening. There is some items in discussion that he wants to have with us about this, so we'll wait for that time, if you would, and I'll just give just a quick update on some of the things that I'm working on that I think are pertinent. Let me just drop down real quick to a couple of things. I know people have been asking about the senior exemption program, and President Cooper did speak last time about how the administration was working on some items, so I'm going to wait till that discussion happens. We're going to try to coordinate that discussion and see if this is incorporated in that discussion. So it's going to stay on my docket, but I think it's going to be handled with a larger discussion with the administration on a lot of tax exempt programs that they can look at. So that's just going to sit there for a little bit, just so people know it's not that we're not doing anything with it. We are. It's just being discussed in another arena right now. Let's see. Okay, hawkers peddlers. My favorite. This has become my favorite ordinance, the hawkers and peddlers. So I just want to read a little summary that myself and actually there's a assistant that works with our city solicitor now that's been working on this. I have my own person working on this right now. And I just want to tell you her summary. In summary, there appears to be inconsistencies in how the terms are used on the ordinance. For example, sometimes the word permit is used and sometimes the word license is used. In the definition of hawkers and peddlers Class A, the phrase place to place is used, while a solicitor also engages in door-to-door activities. The first 4 bullets defining a transient vendor are appropriate. However, the remainder of the definition, talking about county licenses, fees, is not applicable in Massachusetts. Moreover, even if we had county permits, a municipality could not regulate the fee. Additionally, as we discussed, and she and I had some conversation, it may be workable to require a new license every 5 days. Also, unworkable, excuse me. Also, the badges should not remain the property of the city, even though they can be revoked. It is unclear to me exactly how the different proposed classes are to be treated differently. So, what I've asked her to do is to just look at the entire section and to go through and do some striking and editing and then come back and give her opinion of what that section should look like. And then we can take a look at that and see if that's, because it looks like there needs to be a lot of cleaning up in it to begin with, and so that's what I propose to do. I hope that's amenable to everybody on the council, so I should have something at some point in time from her soon. Okay, so that's what's happening with that right now. And that concludes my business for the ordinance elections and legislative matters. I'm going to ask for an adjournment at, oh my goodness, we just, what did I get? 7:57, right?
Second.
Okay, and we're adjourned at 7:57. Thank you. All in favor? Everybody's in favor. Let's go. Thank you.
That's your copy. I took both the copies.